$1 million on the line here at the TST tournament in Cary, North Carolina. That $1 million will be awarded to a team that advances out of these group stages here, competing towards Tuesday, a big prize bag as we head into Group A competition here on Field 4. Reggae Rovers taking on Pumas de Alabama in what should be a very entertaining, interesting game of soccer. Plenty of storylines to be told here, but before we get into that, introductions and rules are in order. My name's Christian Phileman, and I've been calling games with y'all here since 8:30 this morning, so if I sound like, well, a raspy, screaming voice, well, now you understand exactly why. Now, let's get into the rules of this game real quick before we get into the introductions of the Reggae Rovers and Pumas de Alabama. We have two 20-minute halves of a running clock. That running clock will only stop based on an official's timeout or an injury on the pitch. There is no throw-ins, no slide tackling, more importantly, no ties. We are going to go into target score time at the conclusion of those two 20-minute halves, and we'll give you some more information on that later. This is a 7v7 tournament, and it is played on a pitch that is 65 yards long and 45 yards wide, with a goal standing at 6.5 feet from bottom to top, 18.5 feet wide from left to right. The teams that we are going to be talking about today, let's start first with the Reggae Rovers. They are wearing the black kits. The Reggae Rovers are in their second year in the TST. They made it to the quarterfinals last year where they lost to Newtown Pride. They were founded by Ryan Mute after watching the 2023 tournament and knowing that Caribbean representation is needed in the TST, put a team together, and that team was extremely competitive. The players you're going to want to keep an eye out for, I should say. Number 91, O'Neal Fisher. He has spent some time in Major League Soccer. And, of course, number 10, Shea Benny, who is a legendary player. Trinidad born. He is a lethal scorer. For Pumas de Alabama, they are a team out of Birmingham, started in 2010 by their owner, Juan Luis, who is a big fan of Pumas out of Liga MX. And if you're a fan of Liga MX, well, stick around, folks, as Club America is going to be taking on the 610 here on Field 4 in just a couple of hours. And we are underway live from Cary, North Carolina, Wake Med Soccer Park, the home of the NWSL's NC Courage. Pumas de Alabama taking on the Reggae Rovers. Pumas de Alabama wearing that mustard yellow kit with the white shorts. Reggae Rovers wearing the black. Now, I can tell you from experience, having paid attention to the small-sided game for quite some time, Pumas de Alabama is a team with a significant amount of experience playing in cash prize tournaments. Now, I'm not going to say that they're hired guns and mercenaries, but these are players that are used to competing. This is what they do for fun, in some cases for profession. So they are a team that is going to be a formidable challenge for anybody they take on. But the Reggae Rovers, in their second season, already off to a good start. In fact, both teams off to a good start, having won in their opening round matches. The Reggae Rovers defeated Dark Horse United earlier this day by a score of 5-1. And Pumas de Alabama beat Say Word FC by a score of 5-2. And so these are two high-scoring teams that love to play fast, love to play physical, and that should give us here a very entertaining game of soccer. For those tuning in for the first time, we just want to say welcome. For those that have been with us all day in the past couple of years, thank you so much for sticking with us as that ball comes out of play. No throw-ins, as we mentioned, as Pumas de Alabama gets the ball in. Edgar Ivan Georgiana Hernandez, wearing the number 9, got it in. Reggae Rovers are a team that love to get out there and run that fast pace. And there you see it right there. There's a shot that just misses. Pumas de Alabama utilizing their keeper, Luis Diego Gomez Luna, in between the sticks. Starting in between the pipes for the Reggae Rovers, wearing number 13, Amal Knight. Amal Knight featured for Lexington SC in the USL League One in 9 caps with the Jamaican national team. Significant significant experience for the Reggae Rovers on the international front, playing for either Trinidad or Jamaica. That got that Caribbean vibe, that Caribbean representation. And they're going to look to continue their fun and winning ways. Both teams sitting on a victory, looking to continue on with that success here in their second game. Pumas to Alabama, featuring a plethora of talent. We didn't mention the players to watch out for. I want y'all to keep an eye on Uriel Zuart. Uriel Zuart wearing the number 37. He's been playing the small-sided game for quite some time. He was a member of the Major Arena Soccer League's Chihuahua Savage. And that is a team that has dominated the arena game in the United States, winning back-to-back Ron Newman Cup champions. And Zuart, a very big piece to that puzzle for the Savage. Wearing the number 37, that's the player to keep an eye on for Pumas. Ball gets intercepted. Pumas on the run. That ball is in onto the right side. And over to Miguel Angel Morales. Up top. The shot attempt deflected and off the feet of Reggae Rovers. We have had some roster changes here, so you're going to have to bear with me. As Giovanni Willis, wearing the number 4, deflects that one. Set piece opportunity here for the Pumas, I should say. So that ball is going to go, and cross out of play.
Back to the Alabama end.
I got to see Pumas to Alabama when they were competing in Southern California in a cash prize tournament. Intercepted. Reggae Rovers off to the races. There's a shot just wide. Great defense. Jean-Paul Rocheford was the individual who did take that effort. Rocheford, I believe, did score in the Reggae Rovers win earlier today. And there you see the Rovers just continuing to run. Pushed off the ball. No foul gets called. Officials letting the boys play today. We've seen a lot of that thus far in the TST. I haven't seen too many games thus far where they've been calling it close and calling a lot of contact. Ball comes in and knocked out by O'Neal Fisher. Fisher played at New Mexico United. New Mexico University. Playing for the Lobos. 2015 MLS Super Draft, was the 40th pick by the Seattle Sounders. In fact, he was part of that 2016 MLS Cup Sounders winning team. Fisher then moved on to Southern California, where he was a member of the LA Galaxy out of Carson. So he is another option that Reggae Rovers have. But Shea Benny, the legendary futsaler himself, he did score earlier today. So Pumas biding their time, looking to find their way through this Reggae Rovers backline. Beautiful pass in. There's an attempt. And an easy save by Amal Knight. Pumas hanging on to it. About 6 minutes and 20 seconds into this game. Both teams coming off wins, as mentioned, but high-scoring wins and very dominating and convincing victories. But with the level of talent that we're seeing on both sides of the pitch, well, I'm not sure if it will be a high-scoring game, but it will be an action-packed, tightly contested contest. The back heel into the left side. Pass comes up top. The shot! And that was just narrowly missed. Pumas to Alabama did have an opportunity. But falling in the box, I believe that was Christopher Alexis Castillo Mejia. And there's a whistle. Ball's going to come back to the midfield. So foul away from the ball is the official explanation.
minute here of the first half.
Pass comes in, O'Neal Fisher. Fisher biding his time, trying to ward that Pumas to Alabama defense. Pass comes in and to the right. Into the box it goes, just narrowly misses. Reggae Rovers creeping in. Shea Benny was the individual who did take that shot. Shea Benny, no stranger to finding dramatic goals. He's scored some bangers throughout the course of his illustrious career. Shea Benny wearing the number 10 for the Rovers. Pumas has it. A quick recovery and a quick takeaway by Pumas to Alabama. The shot, and that goes in. Pumas to Alabama, strike first, threading through the back of the net early on. Jose Antonio Medina Alvarado manages to find the back of the net. 1-0 in favor of Pumas to Alabama. And a brilliant movement of the ball for Pumas. Alvarado, the goal scorer, did play professionally outdoors in Mexico with Pumas themselves. Atlante as well in the second tier of the Liga MX pyramid. So here's a player that has had success in the outdoor world on the 11-a-side game. A lot of small-sided soccer and a lot of experience in the small-sided world here at the TST. We've got futsalers. We've got arena players. We've got beach soccer players. And it has been the players with the experience on the small side that have been managed to be successful throughout the course of the entire history of the TST. Going back to the start where Newtown Pride won last year with La Bombonera. Shea Benny with the footwork. He gets muscled off the ball, and believe that's going to be a foul going against Ernesto Valdez-Torres. So it's going to be a drop ball in favor of Reggae Rovers as Shea Benny's going to be set to take the free kick. The official urging Cesar Adrian Vallejo Gutierrez to give Shea Benny some space, as he was right up in Benny's grill. Benny set to take the free kick. The pass in, and that comes off of the head and absolutely rattles the dome piece of a Pumas to Alabama defender. I did not see who that was, but the officials are going to the trainers, and we're going to have a stoppage in play. That was an aggressive attempt by Benny. I mean, you could feel that all the way from here. So that'll create a stoppage in play. And as it stands, Pumas currently leading Reggae Rovers by a score of 1-0.
Ernesto Valdez-Torres, number 4, back on his feet.
And so, thankfully, Ernesto Valdez-Torres is back on his feet and heading towards the bench. So we're set to resume play here. That was off his head. So possession favoring the Reggae Rovers. Pass comes into Howell. Going back to Amal Knight. Amal Knight, even from a distance, a big, imposing force. You could see the tallest player on the pitch, no question for the Rovers. And I should say the tallest person even compared to Pumas. Although Pumas does have a few players that are close to Knight in stature. Ball comes into number 26, Howell. Back over to Benny. Benny opting to go into the midfield. Threaded through, there's an attempt, just misses. You could see where the wheels were spinning and where the idea was. Just whiffed on, though. So Reggae Rovers have had a couple of opportunities. But the only team to successfully thread through the netting early here within this first half has been Pumas. Taken away. Counterattack opportunity for the Rovers. There's a shot and an easy save by Luis Diego Gomez. And now Pumas off to the races. Passed into the right side. And not sure whether that was going to be a shot or a pass, but either way, off the wrong end of the boot as that comes out of play. It's going to be Rovers' ball.
The clock is behind us here on the tower.
Pass into the midfield, intercepted by Pumas. Garcia applying significant pressure, but Pumas manages to get past the defense. Taken away by the Rovers. Rovers now have some numbers as they're off on the counter, but the advancing pass just a little too hot.
Far for Kelson, number 7.
As Kelson was the intended target, but just a little too hot on the pass. Goal kick in towards the other side of the box. That bounces back over to him all night. Knight's going to roll it. That's going to go to Ramon Howell, who's wearing the number 26. Howell goes to his right side. And Pumas de Alabama has done an exceptional job picking the pockets of the Reggae Rovers anytime that they've been on their attack. The Rovers have had a couple opportunities off of set pieces, but Pumas now not allowing anything on the counter. A lot of incredible talent from south of the border here, converging onto Cary, North Carolina. Pumas de Alabama, one of the hot teams here. La Bombonera, the defending champs. Boca Dallas, another incredible team. And in just about an hour, we are going to see Club America, the Mexican Giants, the Mexican La Liga, the most successful team in Liga MX, is going to take the field against the 6'10 within the hour. We're already starting to see quite a few Club America kits heading on over to Field 4. So Rovers have it. They put it back into play. And over to Dwayne Muquette. Back over to Howell.
We're at the 15th minute here.
Over to Rochford. Rochford finds an alleyway and gets it in. A through ball, but intercepted by Pumas. Heads up defending by the boys based out of Birmingham, Alabama. Of course, the team Pumas based out of Mexico City, which is the owner's favorite team. The Liga MX Clausura just ended about a couple of weeks ago as Toluca did defeat Club America by a score of 2-0. I'll reference some more of that as we get to Club America's game. Certainly looking forward to a legendary player in the likes of Miguel Ayun, who's going to be competing later. But here's a counterattack opportunity for the boys from Birmingham as Miguel Angel Morales has a shot, but that deflects. His lane completely blocked as his attempt. He is the player in stature that is of significant size for Pumas. Howell in a Muquette over to the left side. And just a heads-up play. Oh, take it away. Ball is still loose. The Rovers have it. An attempt clogging the lane. Pumas once again. Close call as the Rovers started to make things interesting in their attacking third of the pitch. But Pumas' defense has been crippling inside of the box. Fancy footwork. The attempt. Oh, and that narrowly misses. Such a close opportunity from Hugo Ivan Rodriguez. But that comes off of the Rovers, so corner kick here. The header. And there you see the size of Knight getting in the way of that cross into the box, the corner into the box. Pumas still maintain it. Taken away, though, by the Rovers. The Rovers the only team with the Caribbean contingent here. Players from Trinidad, players from Jamaica. And a team that has been a delight to watch. Not only today, but even last season. If it wasn't for that powerful Newtown Pride team, Rovers could have potentially moved forward and out of the quarterfinals into the semis. But in their first season, if you're Reggae Rovers, you have to be really pleased with how you performed. The learning has occurred. And so there is no losing if you learn from it, and they've clearly learned. Benny opts to go towards the midfield. He resets his position. Pass comes into the right side, intercepted by Pumas. Pumas did have numbers, and they still have possession. And now they recalibrate, reassess, and reset. So that pass did come in, Hugo Isaac Rodriguez. Back over to Luis Gomez. Chipped in, they're trying to find their target, Miguel Angel. There's a shot, and another goal! Pumas de Alabama blast one from all the way in Birmingham and build on their lead, but Reggae Rovers arguing with the officials. So the goal scorer is going to be Jose Mariano Amaro Rios.
2-0. Getting late in the first half.
A pair of sevens scoring. First it was 77, Jose Antonio Medina, and then Miguel Angel Morales. 2-0 the score for Pumas. As the clock's ticking here in this first half, they've got the numbers, the counter. And that one gets pushed away. An unselfish play by Gustavo Gutierrez. He had himself a lane. It was just a little too unselfish. Wanting to get his teammates involved, but he had the opportunity and the open look to have potentially gone in on the right side to put Pumas up by a score of 3-0. So Reggae Rovers got bailed out by his unselfishness. Not often is unselfishness punished, you should say, but in that case, for Pumas, not able to capitalize as that ball comes out of play. We're under 40 seconds remaining here within this first half. Can the Rovers claw one back before both teams head to their respective benches?
Under 1 minute to play here in the first half.
Pumas
Alabama
going across. And there you see the chemistry between these players. A lot of these athletes have competed with each other for a number of years and in plenty of cash prize tournaments. Not the Kings League, but the Kings Cup, a tournament run by Frank Tayu, a member of Nani FC. And the official blows the whistle, and that officially marks the end of the first half, as Pumas de Alabama, currently sitting in the catbird seat, leading the Reggae Rovers by a score of 2-0. We're going to take a break. We're going to give you some quick stats when we come back, and when we do come back, we will resume play here in the second half. But stick around, folks. A 2-goal lead here at TST. Not a big enough lead to walk away feeling comfortable. Back in a moment. You are watching the TST on YouTube. Welcome back, folks. We're getting ready for the start of the second half here from Field 4 in the matchup between Pumas de Alabama and the Reggae Rovers, a Group E battle, and thus far it's been controlled by Pumas. Your goal scorers, number 7 for Pumas, Miguel Angel Morales and Jose Antonio Medina, put the boys from Birmingham up by 2 as we begin the second half. Live from Wake Med Soccer Park here in lovely Cary, North Carolina. The intensity picking up here to start by the Reggae Rovers as they are all over the pitch attacking Pumas de Alabama. What a fantastic drop ball as Pumas goes in on the counter. Pass comes into the box, a cheeky back heel. That just misses. That's some pure class exhibited by Pumas going on that run. Folks, I'm not a scientist, but I know chemistry when I see it, and these players from Birmingham certainly have that chemistry. They're used to competing with one another. I said it and reiterated it a couple of times within the first half. These are players that have competed in many a cash prize tournament all throughout the country. There we see Uriel Zuard of the Chihuahua Savage. Zuard has a significant and interesting career in his time as a pro. Pass in on the right. Here's an opportunity, and that gets thwarted. That was the opportunity that Reggae Rovers were desperately seeking, but getting in their way was Luis Gomez making the save. Incredible save by the Pumas keeper. As that ball gets launched back into the midfield. Over to Howell, number 26. The pass over to Rushford. There's a shot and another save. And Pumas is getting tested time and time again here early within the start of the second half. 2-0 the score. Our target score will be 3 if this result holds. And we'll tell you more about that as we get closer to the target score. But Pumas de Alabama, just the way that they've been moving the ball just seamlessly with hardly any effort, hardly any sweat batted. This isn't even a team that looks fatigued at all. Not to say that the Reggae Rovers do, but Pumas seemingly looking more comfortable. The presence of number 7, Miguel Angel Morales. He is the target forward for Pumas. Ball gets picked up by David Acuna. Acuna dropping it off to 55. Yahar Mabet Moreno. Back over. And somehow Pumas continues to maintain that possession. As much as Reggae Rovers are throwing at them defensively, Pumas comfortable, no problem. There's the term, throwing everything in the kitchen sink. Learned that was a tale going back to the time of the Great War when soldiers would literally do that, throw everything and anything over at opposing soldiers, including the kitchen sink. So all these fun terms that we hear on fairly consistent basis, always curious to know where they come. Got a fun one for you, the wet your whistle comment. I'm sure you've heard that many a times. Back in the day when people would go into the pubs, they would have a mug that had a whistle on it, and anytime that they were empty, they would blow the whistle, and that would alert the barkeep to head on over to fill up that cup. So now you've learned where the term everything in the kitchen sink comes from and where the term wet your whistle comes from. Bet you didn't think you would hear that on a broadcast here at TST, but I aim to inform, educate, and entertain. Garcia coming in, looking to be a pest, but no sweat off the back of Luis Gomez. As the official blows the whistle, we have a foul down onto the pitch. Pumas picks up their possession. Pass comes in to David Acuna. Acuna back over to the midfield. Pumas biding their time as that pass was intended for number 77, Jose Antonio Medina. Medina already with 1 goal today. He is 50% of the reason that Pumas is currently sitting in this advantageous position, up by a score of 2-0. Shea Benny, the Reggae Rovers talisman, chips it and regains possession, but taken away. Now no counterattack here, or at least no fast break, I should say, for Pumas, as the Reggae Rovers did track back. And that's what reset Alabama. Pumas, a smart team. Pass into Luis Gomez. A little bit about Gomez. Played with Estudiantes Tecos. Also played in Jalisco and Cafeterios de Chiapas. That's his background that we've learned about doing the research here. Shea Benny, the legend himself, dumps it over to Howell. Howell back over to Benny. If the Rovers are going to maintain any kind of attack, Benny's going to have to be a part of this. Played with Montego Bay United FC. Also part of the Jamaican national futsal team. There's a shot. Oh, almost. O'Neal Fisher. Close. And there's a tackle, but there's going to be a foul drawn, much to the surprise of Pumas. Ernesto Valdez thought he made a clean play. And that ball is just outside of the box. As Reggae Rovers are going to have a free kick here. So, will it be Shea Benny on the free kick? He's going to move back. O'Neal Fisher, there you see, going inside of the box. A lot of yellow jerseys, a lot of yellow kits in there for Pumas. That's going to be some hard spacing to find. Benny, but a shot attempt saved. And another incredible save from Luis Diego Gomez. He's had some fantastic saves here, thwarting the offensive attack from the Rovers. And there he is, settling Pumas down. Not that they've seemed frazzled or frenetic. Calm, control, and poised, as they've been this entire game. Rovers pressing up high. And so that defensive pressure worked as the Rovers regained possession. And Shivani Willis, a big body for Reggae Rovers, a big part of that defensive maneuvering. Pass from Howell into Benny. Benny's going to go backwards over to Amal Knight. The sun descending, we have the overcast occurring, and an opportunity, a clean look. The shot just goes wide. Pumas to Alabama looking to find another one as Christopher Castillo. His shot just misses wide right.
Rovers with the ball.
Kicked up high and into the air, headed out of danger. There's a shot. Fired aggressively, but just off the mark. So, folks, just a reminder on that target score time. It is 3 right now if this score result holds. Zamal Knight belts it back to his counterpart on the opposite end of the pitch. So what that means is if we head into target score time with the target score being 3, Pumas only needs to score 1. Reggae Rovers would have to find 3 goals in this case. And we have seen comebacks in target score time throughout the history of the tournament and as early as today, as we saw one of the biggest upsets in the tournament as Certified Lions defeated Atletico Madrid earlier on, and a lot of their goals coming in the target score time. So Play will resume within the target score time with 7v7. And then within increments of 3, if no goals have been scored, a player will get removed from each team, going 6v6, 5v5, so on and so forth. Another shot off the mark by Pumas. And that should give the Reggae Rovers a lifeline here as Luis Magana missed wide. Pass over to Kelson. Puts it back into play. Dumps it back over to Knight. Howell with a lot of room to maneuver and operate. Looking to go backwards as opposed to forwards. And that's because Pumas has been suffocating the Reggae Rovers. Headed out by Zuart. Zuart defensively has been fantastic for Pumas. In this encounter, an errant pass intercepted by the Rovers. Can they capitalize on the mistake? No, denied. Pumas almost made a mistake that cost them dearly. But Miguel Georgiana Hernandez atoned for the sins of that errant pass. And the whistle's going to be blown as Zuart, displaying sportsmanship. He was just settling in on it, not trying to cause any chaos there.
Pumas fall. They're up 2-0. About 8 minutes remaining in regulation.
8 minutes remaining here within regulation. Kelson has it. Does not have the numbers as Zuart makes another defensive play. Picked back up by Rushford. That comes out of play. It's going to go direction arrow favoring Pumas de Alabama. Anytime they've had some clear looks, just Pumas' blockade has been just crippling. Absolutely crippling. Even when Pumas makes mistakes, they recover quickly. It's the signs of a team that's very confident and very well coached, I should also say. Into Luis Magana. Back over to number 8, Miguel Georgiana. And almost another careless turnover. But despite the turnovers, Pumas continues to recover quickly. Rovers haven't had any clean looks here within the past several minutes. As Pumas looking to make their run, Miguel Morales. Morales already with a goal this afternoon, or I should say evening. Afternoon if you're in California. Opting to go backwards to Gomez. Gomez has several options. Opts to go right. Into number 66. Who I will say consequentially we don't have rostered. Advancing the ball across. Kept in play. The ball nearly crossed past the touchline. Rushford doing a good job keeping it in. Pumas up top. Back to the midfield. And just looking to continue to spread the Reggae Rovers and try to gas them here towards the end of the second half. But what we do know about the Reggae Rovers is their resiliency. This is a team that never quits and never gives up. Hungry for a win. Hungry for their second win, as are Pumas. O'Neal Fisher. Over to Martin. Martin to Powell. Powell goes over to Benny. Shea Benny looking to put on a display of footwork. Cross into the box, booted out of play, and that's going to be a corner kick as Hugo Rodriguez gives the Rovers a set piece here. It's time dwindling down in that second half. Neil Fisher somehow keeping that ball in play. He does not. That is going to be a turnover. Taking a quick look at the clock here. About getting really close to about 5 minutes remaining here before we head into that target score time. Target score will be 3 if this result holds. The pass in. Reggae Rovers are going to pick it back up here with 5 minutes. Looking to cut into this lead. They scored 5 in their previous win, but have yet to find one here against a very tough and talented team from Birmingham, Alabama. Pass comes into Howell. Howell back over to the midfield. Howell also a member of the Jamaican national team, winning himself 3 caps. And just look at the ball movement by Pumas as they completely went from one end of the pitch to the other. 45 yards to operate in width. And Benny pushes Ernesto Valdez off the ball. The official doesn't blow the whistle. And the pass comes back to Gomez. Gomez over to Valdez. Valdez going backwards. Over to Gutierrez. Shea Benny up top. Headed. And what a heads-up play by Gomez. That opened things up offensively for Pumas, and a shot saved by Knight. That was a brilliant save by Reggae Rovers keeper Amal Knight. The force, the sheer brutality of that shot as Knight paws it away from the back of the net. And that's going to stay on this end of the pitch. Rovers have it. Under 3 minutes to play. As the intended target, number 4, Chavani Willis. Willis played at Union Omaha, won himself 5 caps with Jamaica, member of Portmore United, not to mention Bethlehem Steel. I want to talk about the history of U.S. soccer. Go take a look at the history of Bethlehem Steel. That's a fascinating tale. But that's a story left for another day. So we're getting dangerously close to that 40-minute mark, which would mean our target score time is 3. A goal here would greatly benefit the Reggae Rovers, as that would cut into the output that they're going to need in order to win this game. That comes out of play. So again, to reiterate, and it might sound like a broken record, but you got to know, and we got to keep you informed. The target score time 3. If we do head into that with the score maintaining itself at 2-0, Pumas would only need 1 goal. Reggae Rovers would need 3. Will they look to thread through the net one more time? And yes, they do. Finding the back of the net for the 3rd time. Bottom left corner, and yet another goal for Jose Antonio Medina Alvarado, his 2nd goal of the game. That puts Pumas up by a score of 3-0, and that's going to increase the target score time to 4. So now the Reggae Rovers do have their work cut out for them, as we will head into that target score time. What a shot. Alvarado is just taking his opportunities and his moments, and he has shined every time he has had a look, seeing right through Amal Knight. Shea Benny. And his attempt, very ambitious and oh so close, looking for that upper left corner. It's a beautiful attempt. It had the curl. But just off the mark. Back over to Gomez. Gomez up top. Over to Ozuart, the reigning defending MASL champion. Just a staple in that back line. Pumas looking for 4. All right, folks, that is going to be the end of the 2 20-minute halves. As it stands, Pumas to Alabama out of Birmingham only needs 1 goal to close this off. The Reggae Rovers, well, they've got that pretty steep hill to climb, as they're going to need to find 4 goals. Now, folks, we're going to take a quick break, and the rules for the target score time are going to appear on your screen, and I'm, of course, going to dictate it to you when we come back. And don't go anywhere. This game is not over yet.
The 4-goal mark will be declared the winner. Now,
Back here for the start of target score time here on Field 4 in this Group E matchup between the Reggae Rovers and Pumas de Alabama. The target score is 4, meaning that Pumas only needs 1 goal to win. The Reggae Rovers need 4 in order to win. And so we start 7v7, much like we started this game to begin with. After 3 minutes, if nobody scores, 7v7 turns into 6v6. And the same story applies. Rinse and repeat. We've seen games that have gone down to as low as 2v2. And that's a lot of space to maneuver. As we get to a smaller side, both teams would have the opportunity to pull their keeper and throw in another attacker. Of course, that is an extreme and a live by the sword, die by the sword mentality, but one that could be effective. Similarly to hockey, as you pull the goalkeeper and throw in another attacker. And so that might be something that the Reggae Rovers are going to look to utilize if they can manage to claw one back. A team very capable of going on some scoring runs. A high-scoring team. They did put 5 on the scoreboard just recently, earlier today, in fact. And there they are, off to the races with a counterattack. Into the box it goes. And very close, just no cigar. That's another fun term. I'd like to wonder where that came from. Close but no cigar. In fact, I can't say I know too many people that still smoke cigars. So Pumas set to put the ball back into play. No throw-ins, in case you're wondering. No throw-ins, no slide tackles. No foul. As a Pumas attacker hits the deck. Looked like he got pushed off the ball. Amal Knight was being swarmed momentarily. O'Neal Fisher for Reggae Rovers. There you see him wearing the number 91. Back with the Jamaican national team, had himself 20 caps dating back to 2016. So that ball comes out of play. So we do have an entertaining one here, but a game dominated thus far by Pumas. Looking to collect their second win here in the Group E. Oh, and there's an attempt and a goal. The Reggae Rovers capitalized on a mistake, a rare mistake. Capitalized on, but they do claw one back. And the goal scored by Corbin. Kadeem Corbin finds the back of the net, and that's going to make things interesting here, as Pumas has not given up a goal yet. But the mistake, Corbin was there, punched it through, and on the attack again. Nobody else charging onto that field but number 45. Oh, and that shot just misses. Picked right back up by the Rovers. Corbin calling for it as he was wide open, running towards the attack zone. 3-1 the score. Pass in on the right. Pumas. And that's going to be a foul. And a yellow card. I haven't seen many yellow cards in this game. Martin is going to be called for the infraction. So that's going to be free kick opportunity for Hugo Rodriguez. Rodriguez does have the ability to thread this one through, although I suspect he's going to look to go to the right rather than try to make the pass. All right, folks, so the first 3-minute increment is done. So one player from each side is going to be removed from the pitch. And now we are in a 6v6 scenario. Into the left. I did think that Pumas would go right. Pass back over to Gomez. Unlimited time here in the target score time. The individual who scores that game winner will be awarded what's called the Golden Fleece. And that's sponsored by Adidas. And has a lifetime pass to come back to the TST and the TBT. The fleece, not a fleece, but a scarf. And so who's going to be the hero? Who's going to be awarded that Golden Fleece? A Golden Fleece will be awarded in every game as well. There will be a game winner in every game. The beauty of the TST, a game winner in every game. All 134 over the course of these 6 days. Ball into the box, man goes down, but taken away by the Rovers. Now it's important to note that the Rovers did lose a few players to other teams. So this isn't the same Rovers team that lost to Pat McAfee's Concafa in the quarterfinals last year. Pumas looking to open things up here with the 6v6. Pass in to the box, the turnaround, the attempt blocked. Tremendous defending by the Rovers. And we see another yellow card as the level of intensity between both teams certainly picking up. Rovers not looking to walk away from field 4 with the loss, but of course neither is Pumas. Shea Benny back out onto the pitch for Reggae Rovers. Pass in. What a run. The shot and the goal. The Rovers once again find another answer. And a brilliant run by Garcia. Garcia was wide open towards that far corner. Crashed into the box. Shea Benny found him on his run. And now things are really heating up here with the score 3-2. Reggae Rovers not making it easy for Pumas. Confidence picking up here for the Caribbean contingent.
No scores in regulation for the Rovers, but in target scoring time,
So
they put 2 in to make this a one-goal game.
we're still at a 1-goal game. Shea Benny comes back onto the pitch.
Number is 4.
Next goal wins for Pumas. Rovers still need 2 more. I mentioned that if the Rovers were to get back into this game, Shea Benny would need to have his impact, and he did as he contributed to that second goal. All right. Now we are going to move from 6v6 into 5v5. So just to reiterate, every 3 minutes, a player is going to come off the pitch for each side, up until the point where it's 2v2. Rovers opt to go to Knight. So all the Rovers' goals have come within target score time, which is what makes this part of the game incredibly juicy and interesting. And hopefully you were finding this entertaining at home, as we thought the Rovers were dead in the water with the way that Pumas had been playing. But they've taken their foot off the gas and left the door open. A couple of errant mistakes has opened it up for the Rovers here as they're looking for the equalizer. Can they find it? Benny cuts into the right. Back into the box. He still has it. Benny, that ball gets poked away. He wins the corner. There we see the keeper going off. Amal Knight's not on the pitch. We have an extra attacker on for the Rovers. And so an empty net. Pumas looking to capitalize. They still have it with the empty net. What defense as that comes out of play. And so Knight's going to come back on. The extra attacker comes off. Eddie Sanchez, just a few feet in front of me, kicks the ball back into play. Goes over to his line mate, Eder Georgiana Hernandez. Back over to Sanchez. Sanchez being pressured by Rushford. Back to Gomez, the keeper. So again, the target score is 4. Pumas just needs 1. But if the Rovers get the equalizer, they too will only need just 1. And so Amal Knight's going to rush back towards the bench. So open goal, open net, as the Rovers are going to throw on the extra attacker. This game has been exciting towards the end here. Empty net. We know these Pumas players have the ability to launch a banger from distance. Resetting and looking to go on the attack. Shot, very ambitious effort. Off the mark by Rushford. Rushford from Trinidad and Tobago. Played on the youth national team. Not to mention the Timbers U19.
You came for the soccer, you stayed for the target scoring.
So
we're down to 4v4 here.
4v4 now.
And our target score
Just needed a second there to count.
4.
Long days. I'm moments away from having called my 6th game of the day. Okay, so now Pumas is going to pull their keeper and throw in the extra attacker. So both teams playing chess with one another. Pumas was playing chess earlier. Into the box. Free opportunity. Oh! And we thought we had a game winner. Oh my gosh. That was close. And we see another yellow card. Oh, so close. Miguel Georgiana Hernandez thought he had a clean look. Wow, will that be something that's going to come back and haunt Pumas? As Gomez goes back into his box. The extra attacker back onto the pitch for the Rovers. The Rovers are not rolling over here. Benny in the shot. Oh, that was close. A near equalizer. Both teams really knocking down each other's door. As we see 2 size 5 miter balls enter the field of play. One gets rolled off and we resume play.
Target score of 4 if you're just joining us here on field number 4.
So we're starting to get ourselves a nice crowd as the Rovers and Pumas are playing a competitive game. Club America and the 6'10 will take the pitch about 20 or so minutes at the conclusion of this game. And we know the amount of support that Club America, the Águilas, Millonetas, how they get the love all throughout the country and, of course, in Mexico. They are eagerly waiting their opportunity to tear things up on this pitch. But beforehand, we got to get through this incredibly juicy and entertaining game in Group E. Pumas and the Rovers, if you're just joining us, target score of 4. Pumas just needs that 1, and that 1 came close. Zamal Knight back in between the sticks for the Caribbean contingent. Pass in. The roll through. The shot. Oh, and that just sails above the crossbar. Sanchez was close. So that comes off of Reggae, and that's going to be a corner kick for Pumas. Interestingly enough, we haven't seen Pumas' biggest player, Morales, come in to crash into the box. He has contributed significantly in this game as far as the offense goes for Pumas. The extra attacker. And that one gets poked away. That's Sanchez. Found himself open momentarily. So Amal Knight comes back off. All right. So now 1 more player for each team comes off.
We are down to
3v3 now. At this point, truly anything can happen.
The Rovers have scored twice.
I'm going to say that this advantage is going to favor the Rovers, in particular with that extra attacker, unless they make a cataclysmic mistake that could result in a Pumas goal. That target score of 4 still alive and well. Shea Benny goes up top. He has it. Oh! And another goal, the equalizer. I mentioned that Shea Benny was an important player. Collects his 2nd assist. This game is now tied. Goodness gracious me. Goal. Kelson with the equalizer. So here we are. What a crazy game. A game absolutely dominated by Pumas. They scored the first 3, and in target score time, Pumas conceded 3. They started with 3, they conceded 3. So here we are. Pumas with the extra attacker. And so opting to go for a different extra attacker. Oh, this is such an important moment between 2 highly competitive teams. Rovers just showing that grit and determination, clawing and fighting their way back into this game, as we thought they would. Not rolling over the Reggae Rovers. Pass back up top. Open. The one-timer. Aggressively hit into the stands. Opposite end. So that attempt with authority. 4-4. I mean, not 4-4. 3-3 the score. Kelson wearing number 7, charging through. Shea Benny, who has picked up several important and crucial assists late in the game. It's no mystery as to why we chose him as our player to spotlight. Benny open on that left side. Kelson with so much space. Unmarked and wide open on the right. Back over to Benny. Benny looking to charge into the box. Goes back up top. Will the Rovers continue the comeback? Benny with the shot. Oh! Just misses. Knight coming back onto the pitch for Reggae Rovers. Extra attacker on for Pumas. Now we are down to 2v2, and it won't get any smaller than this. This is it, folks. There will be no 1v1. 2v2 is where the buck stops.
The Reggae Rovers have come back.
Reggae Rovers have put up an extremely interesting and exciting comeback. Down by 3. That target score time, which is one of the best, it is the best feature of this tournament. There's a golden fleece waiting for somebody. Now the question is, whose neck is it gonna go around? Will it be on a Pumas player? Will it be on a Reggae Rovers player? The momentum has clearly shifted in favor of the Caribbean contingent, as they are just looking to put the nail in the coffin, the cherry on top of the cake, the exclamation point at the end of the sentence. Unless Pumas can answer here. So no keeper. They're going to use the extra attacker. So it'll basically be a 2-on-1 with just the keeper to beat. Possession important here. Looking to spread things out. The pass in. Back over. The spacing. And the game winner. Pumas denies the Reggae Rovers comeback, and they manage to move on through, collecting their second victory here in the group matches. Folks, if you had the honor and privilege of tuning into this game, this was an exciting one. We thought that Pumas would take this game over, but Reggae Rovers didn't roll over as they came back. It came down to 3-3, and Pumas with the game winner. That's going to do it for us here, folks. The Golden Fleece is going to go towards Pumas. And so that Golden Fleece awarded by Adidas, that allows entry back to TST and the TBT for life. So congratulations to Pumas de Alabama, and hats off to the Reggae Rovers, because that was one heck of a contest. 1 win and 1 loss in their Group E stage, but they're still very much alive with one more game to be played here from the Wake Med Soccer Park tomorrow. Folks, we're going to take about a 20 or so minute break, and when we come back, the mighty Club America is going to take the pitch, looking to pull a victory in front of a very big crowd of Club America supporters, but standing in their way, the 6'10". This should be an interesting one. Don't you dare go anywhere. You are watching the TST on YouTube.